Hello dear students, you all are preparing for the second PU biology examination. So I am just suggesting some important points that help to you for theory examination, and you can easily score very good marks, and as well as those who are struggling for the 21 marks also, they can also easily score the 145 to 50 marks. So first we come to the passing package. At least you have to score 35 to 40 marks in theory examination. At least if you prepare the first 5 chapters, that is reproduction in organism, sexual reproduction in flowering plant, and human reproduction, reproductive health, and principle of inheritance and variations. At least if you prepare these 5 chapters, then you can easily score more than 35 to 40 marks from these chapters. Then what are the concepts you have to prepare for the examination? We come to that point. So particularly in first chapter, reproduction in organisms, in that chapter we have to prepare 4 important differences are there, particularly difference between asexual and sexual reproduction, menstrual cycle and estrous cycle, and oviparous and viviparous, and external fertilization and internal fertilization. So out of 4, anyone definitely will come for the examination. And second, one more important thing is, here in that chapter they mentioned about the asexual reproductive parts. Here more or less 10 asexual reproductive parts are there in plant as well as in animals. For example, budding in hydra and yeast, and like that conidia, penicillium, like that. Here different types of asexual reproductive parts are there. So in that definitely 3 will ask for the examination. Almost all in plant only they will ask. Very rare cases they will ask about the encystification and sporulation definition, particularly it is in amoeba. Then second, one more important thing is what is parthenogenesis, and give the suitable examples. That question is arises. So we have to find out. If you prepare these concepts in this chapter, then you can easily get the 5 or 6 marks from this chapter. Then we come to that the second chapter, sexual reproduction in a flowering plant. So in that chapter, first we come to that the male reproductive structure in flowering plant. Particularly in that, generally they will ask about the a flower, LS of the flower they will ask, or else directly we come to that the male reproductive structures. In that, TS of young anther. So TS of young anther, that diagram is also very easy, and hardly 4 to 5 points are there. Like you have to explain about the 4 layers, and that is asked for the 5 marks question. Other than that, microsporogenesis, that is 1 mark definition. Then next we come to the structure of the pollen grain. Structure of the pollen grain, that is asked for the 3 or 2 marks question. Explain the structure of pollen grain they will ask. Then second we come to that the female reproductive structure in flowering plant. Here particularly they will ask about the structure of the anatropous ovule or megasporangium, or directly they will ask about the ovule. So in that you have to explain about the what is funicle, hilum, nucellus, everything you have to explain and draw a neat labeled diagram. Then after we come to that the megasporogenesis, that is 1 mark definition. And next we come to that the development of female gametophyte or embryo sac. So concept is very easy. 1 or 2 times if you read, then you can easily understand and you can draw the diagrams and explain properly. Then after we come to that the pollination, types of pollination, that is very easy concept. Autogamy, geatonogamy, xenogamy, very simple definitions. Then pollinating agent, usually they will ask about the what are the characteristics should be there for the wind pollinating flowers, like that question is arises. Or very rare cases they will ask about the explain the pollination in Vallisneria. Usually in Vallisneria, water is the main media for the pollinations, so you have to explain that. Then next we come to that the outbreeding devices. Here mainly 5 important devices are there. So first if you define you have to define the what is outbreeding devices. Later you have to explain one by one. Here mainly 5 types are there, like decline, heterogeny, like that different types are there. You have to explain these 5 devices, then you will get the 5 marks. The next we come to the monocot embryo and dicot embryo. Here almost all they will ask about the dicot embryo for the 3 marks diagram. That is asked for the 3 marks diagram. So you have to practice that. Are very rare cases they may be asked for the 5 marks question. Explain the structure of dicot embryo they will ask. So diagram is also very easy and their explanation is also very easy. So remaining things almost all 1 mark 2 marks questions. So what is false fruit, what is a true fruit, what is apomixis, what is polyembryony, give suitable examples, like that question is arises. You have to prepare that. If you thoroughly prepare this chapter, then you will get 8 to 10 marks from this chapter. Then we come to the third chapter, human reproduction. Human reproduction, already you know very well about that and you already practiced the diagrams, particularly human male reproductive system, female reproductive system, and a sperm diagram as well as the mammary gland. So out of 4 diagrams, definitely anyone, almost all here male or female, so in these 2 anyone is definitely arises for this year. Then other than that, here spermiogenesis and oogenesis, spermatogenesis and oogenesis. So out of these 2 they may be asked about the 5 marks questions for the explanation, or in rare cases they may be asked for the difference between the spermatogenesis and oogenesis. Then remaining things, that is a menstrual cycle, that is also on 5 marks question. And remaining things, these are asked for the 1 mark or 2 marks questions, like what is parturition, what is lactation, which hormone help for the lactation, what is colostrum. So like that question is arises. So it is about the 3rd chapter. Then we come to the 4th chapter, that is reproductive health. So here almost all what are the reasons for their population explosion and medical termination of pregnancy, amniocentesis, and as well as the some contraceptives are there. Particularly you have to concentrate on the IUDs, intrauterine devices, with their functions and examples. Then other than that, another very important 5 marks question in this chapter is, that is infertility. What is infertility, and explain ART, assisted reproductive technology they will ask. Almost all in that you have to explain about the GIFT, ZIFT, intrauterine transfer. So you have to prepare these things. Definitely they will ask about the 5 marks. If you prepare this chapter, you will get the 5 or 6 marks. So almost all 20 to 25 marks is already covered in these 4 chapters. Then next we come to the principle of inheritance and variations. So here mainly concentrate on the monohybrid cross, dihybrid cross, incomplete dominance and codominance. Out of 4, almost all we have to concentrate on the dihybrid cross. You have to concentrate on the dihybrid cross. Then lastly we come to that in this chapter, that is particularly diseases, Mendelian disorders are there, as well as the chromosomal disorders are there. So in these diseases, definitely 1 or 2 diseases, either hemophilia or phenylketonuria or sickle cell anemia or color blindness or Down syndrome or Turner syndromes, out of these diseases definitely 1 or 2 arises for the 3 mark question or 5 marks question. Then those who are facing difficulties, you just leave it the molecular basis of inheritance. That is quite difficult for the some students. And those who are, if it is easy, then you go to that almost all 5 marks questions. So like what is the transcription, what is the translation, what is the transcription unit, particularly transcription in prokaryote, eukaryote, semi-conservative mode of DNA replication. Here theoretical explanation is there, as well as the experimental proof is there. then DNA fingerprinting, genetic code characters, and lac operon concept. So at least in this chapter you have to concentrate on the transcription, translation, and genetic code characteristics. You have to concentrate those who are facing the difficulties, and others you have to thoroughly prepare this chapter. Definitely will get 12 to 14 marks from this chapter. The next we come to the evolution. Again, those who are facing difficulties, don't go through this chapter, and at least you have to prepare the Miller's experiment diagram and difference between homologous and analogous organs and human evolution. You just concentrate on these concepts. Then we come to the human health and disease. Human health and disease, starting they given 8 diseases. Out of 8 diseases, definitely anyone will ask for the 1 mark or 2 mark. Either they will ask about the causative organism, or they may be asked about the symptoms, particularly symptoms of the malaria, or symptoms of the filariasis or elephantiasis, ascariasis, so any pneumonia, or their causative organisms. You have to prepare thoroughly these 8 diseases. Other than that, antibody structure is very simple, and that is asked for the 3 marks question. Draw a neat label diagram of the antibody. Then what is innate immunity, and explain their barriers anta keltaralli. So that is usually asked for the 5 marks question. And other than that, almost all simple concepts are there. And another very important 5 marks question in this chapter is mechanism of or life cycle of the HIV. That is very important for the 5 marks questions. So you have to thoroughly prepare this one. And remaining things, drugs, particularly opioids, cannabinoids, cocoa alkaloids, their plant scientific names, you have to prepare it. Clear? Then next we come to the strategies in food production. In that chapter again, those who are facing difficulties, you just leave that chapter, or if you are able to read that, then you have to prepare the definitions. Almost all important definitions are there, like what is outbreeding, outcrossing, crossbreeding, inbreeding depression, totipotency, somaclons, tissue culture. These all are the very important definitions are there. At least you have to concentrate on these definitions. Don't prepare that poultry farming, all these things, there is no use, only those who are facing difficulties. Then in 10th chapter, in microbes in human welfare, in that you have to concentrate on the scientific names of the microorganisms that is help for the human welfare. So then in that one more important, sewage water treatment. Sewage water treatment, usually that is asked for the 5 marks question. What is sewage water? What is sewage water? And explain the treatment of sewage water, that is asked for the 5 marks question. You have to concentrate on that. And one more important concept is draw a neat labeled diagram of the biogas plant in Kirtanalli. That is asked for the either 3 marks only diagram or 5 marks. Explain the structure of the biogas plant at the kilo chances ಇದೆ. Other than that, here biocontrol agents and biofertilizers. So very simple ಆಗಿರತಕ್ಕಂತ ಚಾಪ್ಟರ್, ಒಂದು 2 times scientific names ಅನ್ನು ಬರೆದು ಪ್ರಾಕ್ಟೀಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದರೆ ಅದರ ಸ್ಪೆಲ್ಲಿಂಗ್ ಅನ್ನು ಈಸಿಯಾಗಿ ಬರಿಬೋದು. ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ದೇ ಆರ್ ಗಿವಿಂಗ್ 1 mark ಫಾರ್ ದಿ 1 word. They concentrate on each and everything. You have to follow the binomial nomenclature rules, like scientific names you have to write it and underline separately, species and genus. So then you will get the out of out marks for 1 word. Clear? Then those who are facing difficulties in biotechnology, like principle and applications, you just leave it. Or if you are ready to read that chapters, then you have to concentrate on this some particularly PVR 322 diagram and bioreactors, spring that diagrams, and as well as the insulin production, transgenic animals. You have to concentrate on these concepts. And organism and population 13th chapter, that is also very easy chapter. Here particularly you have to concentrate on the some interactions are there like communalism, aminolism, predations, like that some important concept are there, and remaining things are very easy concept. You have to concentrate on that one. And 14th chapter, that is biodiversity and conservation. So biodiversity conservations, very simple chapter. You have to concentrate on the difference between the in situ conservation, ex situ conservation, and as well as the what is hotspot, what is endangered species. Here almost all 1 or 2 marks question is arises, and what is biodiversity loss, and mention their causes of the biodiversity loss. Here mainly 4 important reasons are there. You just concentrate on that causes. Then ecosystem, here mainly concentrate on the ecological succession, that is hydric succession and xeric succession is there. That is very simple ಆಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ concept ಅದು. We have to prepare on that. And energy flow, here almost all 1 mark question is arises. 10% law or Lindemann law ಅಂತ ಕೇಳ್ತಾನಲ್ಲಿ, ಅಥವಾ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ecological pyramids, here number or biomass, like that question is arises. So then lastly we come to the phosphorus cycle. You have to concentrate on the phosphorus cycle, usually that is asked for the 5 marks question. Then last chapter we come to that. So that is biodiversity. Lastly we come to that, the environmental issues. Environmental issues in this chapter you have to concentrate on the scrubber and electric precipitator diagram. Then after we come to that, the controlling vehicular pollution in Delhi. Here what are the steps they have taken, and very important thing is in this chapter is biomagnification. So biomagnification, it is one of the very important concept in this chapter, that is asked for the 5 marks question. What is biomagnifications? Explain with suitable example they will ask. Explain that DDT in aquatic ecosystem. And one more important definition is eutrophication. So eutrophication, usually there is asked for the 1 marks questions, and how that pond is become eutrophicated, or how that nutrient is increases in the aquatic water, they will ask questions. Then last we come to that, the what is greenhouse effect, and what is ozone depletions, when we celebrate the ozone day, like that question is arises. Very simple ಆಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ, ಆಲ್ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಮಗೆ ಫ್ಯಾಮಿಲಿಯರ್ ಇದೆ ಅದು. ಸೊ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಕಾನ್ಸಂಟ್ರೇಷನ್ ಮಾಡಿದರೆ ಈಸಿಯಾಗಿ ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಸ್ಕೋರನ್ನು ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ those who are facing difficulties, you just concentrate on the first 5 chapters, or if possible you go to the human health and disease, then you can easily score more than 40 marks from these 6 chapters. Thank you. Wish you all the very best for your annual examination. Do well, and question number anna mariyade hakri, don't forget. Thank you.